America is young, but the desert is ancient, full of shadows, secrets, and stories that won't stay buried. Out here, where the wind whispers through the empty canyons and the bending rails, legends come alive. Alex Harper, a young aspiring influencer, finds himself caught up in one of Nevada's many mysterious tales. The sky above Highway 50 stretched endlessly, washed in pale afternoon blues and streaked with distant contrails that faded like ghosts across the sun. The sun scorched this famously lonely stretch of road known as the loneliest road in America. Dusty sagebrush rolled by in gentle waves, and the cracked asphalt shimmered under the heat. A single white camper van rumbled alone, the only motion for miles in either direction. Inside, 25-year-old Alex Harper leaned forward over the wheel, squinting through dusty sunglasses. A small red light blinked on the GoPro mounted to the dashboard, its lens facing him and quietly recording. The camera captured the quiet excitement in his eyes.
Okay,
He said into the lens with a half grin.
this is officially the emptiest stretch of road I've driven so far. No cell bars, no buildings, just sagebrush and silence.
He panned the camera toward the windshield.
This is day 39 of the van life experiment. I'm somewhere west of Ely, Nevada, land of copper, casinos, and not a damn soul in sight. Thinking I'll find a place to post up for the night before the wind picks up.
The road curved gently west. As he crested a small rise, Alex spotted a bumpy dirt road branching off from the highway. Rough and uneven, it was clearly traveled only by the occasional local or hiker. The road wound away from the asphalt into the desert scrub toward a pair of rusted train tracks, barely visible through the sagebrush. A weathered wooden post leaned nearby, unmarked and sun-bleached, hinting at forgotten paths and old railroad access. Alex slowed intrigued.
That looks promising.
He muttered mostly to himself.
Definitely not on Google Maps.
He turned off the highway, tires crunching gravel on brittle weeds. Dirt road dipped slightly, following the rails for a few hundred yards before widening into a flat stretch of hard-packed earth, perfect for parking. To the north, the silhouette of a tunnel loomed in the distance, just a dark opening in the side of a sun-bleached hill. Alex put the RV in park and stepped out. The desert air was sharp and still, scented with dry dust and creosote. No birdsong, no traffic, just the tick of his engine cooling and the occasional whisper of wind across the valley. He stretched, cracked his back, and looked around.
I mean, this is incredible.
He said aloud, mostly for the camera now perched on its tripod.
I got the whole desert to myself. Tracks, tunnels, that sunset coming in hot. Feels like stepping back in time.
He spent the next hour filming a few landscape shots, slicing vegetables for a one-pan dinner, and half attempting a drone flight before it lost connection. The sun sank behind the hills, casting long shadows and turning the sky into a watercolor of violet and orange. As twilight deepened, Alex pulled out his camping chair and settled in with a tin mug of coffee, staring out across the fading desert. He tapped his phone, checked again for a service. Nothing. The signal had dropped hours ago. He smiled to himself, oddly content.
This might be the quietest place I've ever camped.
He said into the camera, which now faced him again in the firelight.
If I go missing, it's not Bigfoot. It's probably bad cell reception.
He laughed softly and clicked the camera off. The fire crackled softly as the evening breeze whispered low through the brush. Alex leaned back in his chair, sipping coffee and watching the sunset fade behind the hills. The sky darkened slowly. Stars began to peek out one by one, casting a faint silver glow over the desert. Night settled in, quiet, vast, and still. Nothing stirred but the soft rustle of wind through the sagebrush. For now, the desert held its breath. Desert night was still, eerily so. Alex woke suddenly, unsure why. No dream stirred in his mind. No noise had jarred him awake. Just restless feeling couldn't shake. He lay there a moment, letting his eyes adjust to the dim glow of the string lights draped across the camper ceiling. The soft flicker cast long shadows over the cramped interior, barely enough light to make out the familiar clutter. He reached over to the small counter beside the bed and tapped his phone to life. 2:13 a.m. No messages. No notifications. He set it back down and rubbed a hand over his face, trying to calm the sudden tension in his chest. Then came the sound. Crunch. A deliberate step on the gravel. Alex froze. It wasn't the chaotic rustle of a critter or the whistle of wind through the brush. It was slow, careful, intentional. He shifted toward the back window just above the bed. Quietly he peeled back a corner of the curtain and stared out into the blackness. His breath caught. Nothing. Just a vague outline of scrub brush and flat desert. Still crouched low, he crept to the side door and leaned close to the narrow window there, scanning left to right. No sign of movement. More alert now, he moved to the front of the camper and looked out the driver's side window, then the windshield, then the passenger side. Still nothing. Just open land and stars. But the sound was real. He knew it. Alex slipped quietly into the small closet by the bathroom, pulled out the wooden bat he kept tucked behind the rolled sleeping bag. He'd brought it out of habit, precaution, more than anything, and now it felt necessary. He slid his boots on, no socks, no laces, and reached up to the cabinet above the kitchenette. Inside, he grabbed his headlamp, clicked it on, pulled the strap over his head, bat in one hand, light steady on his forehead. Alex paused by the side door. Then he unlatched his push latch and eased the door open. Cool desert air slid inside. He stepped out into the silence. The cool night air hit him the moment he stepped out, dry and sharp, surprisingly cold where the hoodie had slipped up. His breath came out in soft clouds, brief ghosts swallowed by the vast darkness. He took a slow step onto the loose gravel. The crunch of his boots quiet but unmistakable. The bat felt solid in his hand as he swept the headlamp beam across the nearby sagebrush, scattered rocks, and the faint outline of the camper van. Beyond, the desert stretched wide and empty. The moon hung low, thin crescent, barely casting light, while stars burned bright overhead, sharp pinpricks in the endless black. Alex turned slowly, scanning left and right, his ears straining for any sign of movement beyond the whispering silence. Then, as if to remind him how timeless the desert was, his gaze drifted upward. The sky stretched out above, a vast canvas dotted with countless stars. The Milky Way arched rim in the south, a shimmering river of light cutting through the darkness. He swallowed hard, caught off guard by the breathtaking view, so quiet, so vast, and impossibly ancient. Then came the sound again. A faint rustle, soft and irregular, just beyond the edge of the flashlight's reach to the left. Alex froze, muscles tightening. The bat suddenly felt heavier in his grip. He flicked the beam toward the noise, catching a quick flicker among the shadows of a low bush. A rabbit? A fox? Something small darting away? No. Nothing. Just the desert holding its breath. He exhaled slowly and shifted his gaze toward the distant silhouette of the railroad tracks, faintly glinting under the pale moonlight. Then, the faintest note. A soft, low whistle, stretching out and fading into the vast night air. Alex blinked, unsure if he had imagined it. The desert fell silent again. He took a cautious step toward the tracks. Alex's boots crunched softly on the gravel as he moved away from the camper van, crossing to the other side of the rusted railroad tracks. The metal rails gleamed faintly under the pale moonlight, stretching out in either direction, one end vanishing into the shadows near the tunnel, the other fading toward the dark desert beyond. He stopped and stared down the line toward the tunnel, where a faint glow flickered like a distant fire. A low, mournful whistle cut through the night, carrying on the dry desert air. It was close enough now that his chest tightened in anticipation. Then, from just beyond the curve of the tracks, Alex spotted movement. A figure, standing beside a weathered signal post. The man's silhouette was sharp against the glow of a lantern swinging gently in his hand. He wore a uniform that looked old-fashioned, but well cared for. A hat pulled low over his brow. A beam of light spilled from the mouth of the tunnel, a powerful headlight cutting through the darkness. The train glided forward, moving with an eerie, almost gliding grace, its polished steel reflecting the moonlight. Alex watched as the engine slowed, the wheels whispering softly against the rails. The train came to a gentle stop, just outside the tunnel's entrance. Mere yards from where the signalman stood, the whistle sounded again, soft and lingering, then fell silent. The man's lantern swung slightly as he shifted his weight, turning toward Alex.
Hey,
Alex called out as he approached.
is everything okay? Do you need help?
The signalman turned slowly, the lantern casting flickering shadows across his weathered face. His eyes met Alex's, calm but unreadable.
Just a slight mechanical problem.
The man said with a faint smile.
Nothing we can't handle. You want to take a look around while we get it fixed?
Alex hesitated, curiosity winning out.
Yeah, sure.
The signalman nodded and gestured toward the train.
Come aboard.
Alex pulled out his phone just before stepping onto the train. The small red recording light blinked as he flipped the camera toward himself, mixed the curiosity and nervous energy in his voice.
All right. So I just came across this old train sitting out here by the tunnel. The signalman said they've got a slight mechanical issue, but they're working on it. He told me I could take a quick look around while they sort it out.
He turned the camera to show the length of the train, the engine gleaming faintly under the moonlight, cars stretching back like ghosts into the dark.
Feels like something out of another time. There's just the one guy out here. No crew walking around, no lights on inside. It's kind of eerie.
The man by the signal post gave him a polite nod and motioned toward the steps.
Come aboard.
He said. Alex gave a small nod back, then turned the phone slightly.
All right, going in.
He climbed the steps, the phone's camera catching the edge of the lantern light, the polished wood paneling, aged but well-kept brass fixtures. Inside the passenger car was perfectly still.
Looks untouched, like it's been waiting here for years. Smells like old leather and machine oil, and something else I can't quite place.
He walked slowly down the aisle, panning the camera across the rows of empty seats.
No one else in here, just me and the silence.
Something moved in the corner of the screen, a faint flicker.
Wait, did you see that?
He spun the camera toward the spot, but it was empty, just shadows and brass fittings. He laughed nervously.
Probably nothing. Lights playing tricks.
Then the footage glitched. Just for a second, a faint distortion, barely unnoticeable. The audio buzzed. Alex looked at the screen.
Weird.
Another flicker. The screen warped again. And then the recording cut off mid-sentence. Sometime the next day, a sheriff's deputy came across the camper van, abandoned in the middle of the desert, miles from the nearest road. The door was wide open, swaying slightly in the wind. No sign of its occupant, no footprints, no clues. After a brief search of the surrounding area, only 3 items were found. Just a few hundred yards from the van, a wooden baseball bat, worn smooth at the grip, a headlamp lying face down in the dirt, and a cell phone cracked screen. What they later discovered on the phone would leave even the most seasoned investigator shaken. Final video showed Alex Harper's voice, shaky but calm, as he approached the train and stepped aboard. He turned the camera briefly on himself, offering a nervous half-smile. Then the screen shifted to darkness and flickering lights, capturing the echo of his footsteps in the hollow corridors. It cut off without warning. No exit, no scream, no sign of what came next. Just another disappearance. Another phantom train. Another ghost story whispered across the Nevada sand. This land was steeped in history, mines, tracks, old frontier blood, and even richer in legends. Stories passed between travelers, shared at campfires and diner counters. And now, Alex Harper has become part of that long, restless tradition. Some say his story still lingers out there, riding the wind, waiting for someone else to listen.